All right, welcome back. We did it, folks. We got to 1,000 subscribers. Now I have to wait for YouTube to get around to adding the little monetization icon in my YouTube Studio menu, which who knows when they're going to do that. You know, I went through all the steps, and they're like, click on the monetization icon. Well, it's not there. So, I mean, we just went over 1,000. I assume they don't have a tripwire. They're not going to make it easy, and they're going to make sure that you probably have to reach out to them for them to look at your channel, and then they decide. I know you have to have a certain amount of hours watched as well, so we'll see how that all pans out. But again, keep subscribing. Just the more the merrier. Maybe we can get to 5,000 or 10,000. Maybe we can be a force for good. You know what I mean? First of all, I'm not a historian. I had a couple of comments where people were like, your historical perspective or your knowledge of history is damaging your cause. And I'm like, okay, well, my cause here is to actually promote the candidacy of Tulsi Gabbard and relate those issues that she is you know, giving some time to. I'm relating those issues to current events and things that have been happening. Yesterday, we had Donald Trump tell Russia to get out of Venezuela. Just get out. You know, and normal media, by the way, that comment would be at the very top. But you know why it's not at the very top of the headlines? Is because a lot of the media is okay with Donald Trump telling Putin to get out. Which, I mean, I can't emphasize how Cold War that sounds, or that is, and maybe not so cold, maybe even more than just a Cold War. And this is the stuff that Tulsi Gabbard has warned us about. Trump is still trying to not be Putin's puppet. I do believe, you know, the Russiagate thing is been debunked. It seems as though the media has continued on with it, and now there's obstruction, and there could be other stuff, and we won't know until we see the entire report, and we have to keep talking about that. Now, that's interesting that Trump would continue his sort of tactics, and dangerous tactics. I mean, you don't do foreign policy to make the media happy. Okay? You don't do their foreign policy to make them happy. I mean, this is a crisis when the media is actually controlling the foreign policy of the country. I mean, it's one thing for the military-industrial complex to be running the show, which they are as well. And Trump has, like I said, he's just given over the steering wheel. Some are telling me that he never had the steering wheel. That could all be true. And I'm not going to sit here and play semantics with when, because I did vote for Trump. I'm going to be in constant repentant mode because I just didn't see this coming. I saw just a different perspective when he was running, and he's just given over everything. He might as well be Jeb Bush at this point, and people have to recognize this. In fact, Jeb Bush even made a statement saying that, I love all of Donald Trump's policies. I just wish he'd change his rhetoric. That's it. So Jeb Bush has got wimpy rhetoric, and Donald Trump is, you know, Mr. Bravado, and he's going to tell Putin to get out and so forth. This is right from the Jeb Bush Mitt Romney handbook, though. Hillary Clinton, too. They're all in that same club. And this is why I'm over here with Tulsi Gabbard. Now, again, you know, if my perspectives are off, then please feel free to make comments correcting me and so forth. I don't want this channel to be a point of contention between the people who may be really hardcore progressive and me, who's kind of like progressive conservative or conservative. I don't even know. And I don't even want to try at this point. I'll find a label. I'll make one up. I said in one video that I want to be a solutionist, and I think that is the best strategy. I think you need to solve problems, and government right now is not solving problems. They're playing these partisan team sport, he said, she said, back and forth nonsense. It just never ends. And I think a lot of the Trump voters who thought that that was going to end because Trump, I had reservations when, what was it, Rex Tillerson. I mean, he appoints, at that point I'm going, really? Rex Tillerson? I mean, the dude from Exxon is going to go around and talk to Sergei Lavrov? I mean, just it didn't make a lot of sense to me, and things haven't gotten much better. He's had a real struggle putting people in positions of power because those people seem to be the same people or related to the same people, at least their philosophy and their political acumen is kind of in that direction. And I just didn't think this was going to happen again. I mean, you know what I'm thinking? Okay, so all you progressives out there, and I've heard Jimmy Dore talk about this because he's really frustrated with the Democrat Party. And I'm Republican originally, but now I'm kind of been independent for a while. I'm kind of just fed up with the two-party system. There probably does need to be a third party, a viable third party, a grassroots movement, a real... Because you've got to have an exodus from these two parties. You'd have all of those folks that don't like neocons or neolibs. And of course you'd have a media, by the way, that would do everything in their power to destroy. I mean, Jill Stein was around last time, and she got a little bit of airtime, which was kind of refreshing just to see other voices. I mean, Gary Johnson was out there. I thought he was a horrible candidate, though, and it's a guy I've actually met in person. Really nice guy, but he just, you got to kind of know what Aleppo is when you're talking. That was the end of Gary Johnson. The reason he didn't focus on that stuff is because some libertarians don't really give a crap about foreign policy because they wouldn't do any of it. They wouldn't do any interventions, but you still have to deal with foreign policy because you're not going to go in there as libertarian Gary Johnson and shut the military industrial complex down overnight. You've got to know what's happening. So I do believe there needs to be another party that has the best solution-based ideas. And you can cull from every political party or every spectrum on, every place on that spectrum and find maybe some good ideas. Like Andrew Yang, he's got good ideas. Tulsi Gabbard, I think, has great ideas. Bernie, you can't discount Bernie. I'm just thinking we need fresh and new, and Tulsi, to me, as far as candidates go, I think she's the fresher face. And also, I think as anti-war and as staunch anti-war as anybody I've witnessed in years. I mean, I don't know who is more anti-war than Tulsi Gabbard, and she has the military experience to kind of back up her philosophy on war. So that's really a great kind of mix, and that's why this channel is here. So if you're looking to get history, like really deep history, you probably shouldn't be watching me. I'm not a historian. I'm just a guy who loves my country, who sees that there is a giant cliff ahead. And yeah, we're Americans, and we typically find ways to avoid getting in too deep, but there has to be a reckoning of our political system because it's broken. You're not going to find salvation in the Democratic Party. You're certainly not going to find it in the Republican Party. So I'm thinking there's got to be a third way, like a real third way. Now you would say, well, the Green Party is already out there. I don't know. I think you need to be a little bit more broad in your approach as to what you're going to do with the country. I think you do have some conservative thought and ideas that are out there that might be relevant. What the Tea Party was talking about a few years back wasn't stupid. I just wonder where they went, because Trump got elected and they left as if their causes. I mean, you never hear about them anymore, and they were always in the news. Or maybe that's the media just drowning those alternative voices out. I mean, you have to look at the military spending, though, and I don't know if Tea Partiers really did that. They just looked at government spending on entitlements rather than I mean, the biggest entitlement we have right now is the warfare state. That's the biggest entitlement. The entitlements go to these large multinational corporations and these military contractors and countries like Israel and Saudi Arabia. Let's just be honest. So, all that to say thanks for subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be out watching or looking out for Tulsi Gabbard on a couple of other platforms. Make sure somebody will shoot a message over to somebody and tell her that this channel exists. I think she knows now, but not for me, for her. So she knows that we've got her back. And if you know anybody who is, like a Trumplican, as I call them, or somebody who's, maybe having some fallout, feeling a little guilty and needs to repent, and they can come over here and watch me, and we can kind of commiserate together and try to heal our own, our own political journeys, and maybe bring some other folks along for the ride, and they can laugh at us, and we can have a good time. So that's what we need to do, but it is a serious thing, what we're doing, because we're bucking the entire political system by supporting Tulsi Gabbard. According to CNN or whoever that poll, I was seeing Joe Biden has a lead, like a huge lead over Bernie Sanders, according to their polling, and that we know how accurate mainstream media polls are, but Biden probably does have a lot of support, 38% to Bernie's 25%. Tulsi had 1%. Tulsi Gabbard had 1%. So I never wanted to be part of that 1%. So we've got some work to do. I think part of the reason she's at 1% is the progressive media outlets are the only ones giving her a fair shake. And one interview with Tucker Carlson, and the rest of them were just hit pieces and smear jobs. And so we've got to work extra hard to talk about her and to let people know that, yeah, she's the candidate that could actually bring the country together again. So there you go. All right, done with that. Please subscribe if you haven't, and thanks if you have. And we're over 1,000, and it's a matter of time, hopefully. We'll get YouTube's attention, and I'll be making really big bucks. No, probably not. But I will be happy with whatever they can, give me. So I will talk to you all soon. See you then.